Are you stressed out? Seriously. Like, if stress burned calories, you'd be a supermodel kind of stress. Yeah! Believe it or not, stress is a good thing. It's how we respond to stress that causes all the issues. So let's talk about it! Barry Smith here, 25-year veteran pastor, published author, and a guy who stresses out quite often. It doesn't matter if it's a TV show or a movie, I get so into the characters that my hands start sweating and I bite my nails. It's just stupid stress. I get headaches and neck aches from work stress and relationships that go sideways. We've all had stress. Cars cut us off in traffic, or the moron who's turning left doesn't quite get his Suburban out of the main lane where we're all supposed to be going 45 miles per hour. That guy's an idiot and should have his license taken away. Dude, move forward 6 feet. Sorry. It stresses me out. The stress is all over the sports world, not just the pros, but March Madness and high school sports. We've all been under stress before, and this stress can motivate us or tear us apart. Stress isn't a bad thing. We need it to succeed. It causes us to meet a deadline at work or finish a paper for school. It makes us practice more intensely and study more and work harder. But too much of it can tear us apart from the inside out. It's not just cursing under our breath or the anger or depressing feelings that we get under stressful situations. You know, when the financial crisis hits us or you and your spouse have a knockdown, drag-out fight. Too much stress that's not handled properly is a huge contributor to people getting divorces. Too much stress that's not handled properly causes chemicals to work in your body, and if not dealt with, they could destroy you, literally. Stress can motivate us or tear us apart. And here's your message in a tweet. If you don't get anything else, get this. How we handle stress affects all our relationships. Relationships in a family, friends, work, school, bosses, employees, all of our relationships. How we handle stress can even affect our relationship with God. So where does stress come from? Well, that's what we're going to talk about over the next few videos. There are chemicals at work in your body when you're stressed out. Those chemicals surface as feelings, and those feelings can be deceptive. We must learn to not be controlled by our feelings and recognize where those feelings came from. Here's a great verse to memorize for this week, 2 Corinthians 10:5. We take captive every thought to make it obedient to Christ. Feelings come from thoughts that come from chemicals in our bodies. This is when the battle happens to overcome stress. It's really a battle of good and evil. We have two options when we're stressed out. We can respond with the flesh. That's the easy way. That's the natural way. When something or someone stresses you out, that you just do whatever you feel like. You just let it come out, lash out, act out. When those chemicals pour through your veins, you just go with it. You retaliate, you get angry, you punch someone in the throat. And then you say, well, the devil made me do it. A second option is to respond in the Spirit. This is far more difficult, and it's not natural at all. Romans 8 talks about how a mind controlled by the flesh is death, but a mind controlled by the Spirit is life and peace. If we just go with the flesh, it's actually hostile to God, and we can't please God. We have to push through the feelings and into obedience, submitting to the Spirit. It's not easy, but it is possible, and Jesus gives us the perfect example of how to face stress head on and not be controlled by it. You think about it, Jesus faced a lot of stress. Misunderstanding, accusations, deceit and hypocrisy, lies and abuse, wrongful incrimination, and even death. Here are just 3 stressors that Jesus faced. Relational betrayal. Now, he kind of brought this on himself because he picked some of the oddest candidates to be his leaders. The uneducated, some simple fishermen, and tax collectors. Well, that tells me that everyone can have a relationship with God and help even lead his church. Jesus had 12 apostles. He had 3 super close guys with Peter, James, and John, and a very special relationship with just John. Peter, one of the big 3, got called out on being friends with Jesus, but Peter denied it 3 times. Then the rooster crowed, which Jesus had predicted earlier. Pete, buddy, you say you're going to follow me. That's great, but you're going to deny me 3 times before the rooster crows in the morning. And it did. Imagine the chemicals coursing through Peter's veins as in this fight or flight moment for him. Jesus is arrested. Pete's just outside watching in the side yard, and Peter gives into the flesh and took the easy way out and said, I don't know Jesus. But what about Jesus' perspective? Think about his stress. He had one of his top 3 guys deny that he even knew him. He ever had a good friend betray you? Someone you trust deeply, someone you've poured much of your life into, someone that you've helped through some of their drama and tough times, someone you've opened up to, and then they betray you, then they turn their back on you, or even start spreading lies about you? I've had that happen. It sucks. And it makes me want to lash out and get even, or to make them pay for what they did, or to stop trusting people altogether. But that's just the flesh. Jesus ends up using Peter as a major part of his leadership team. Jesus responded to relational betrayal with a spirit option. The second stressor for Jesus was intense circumstances. Jesus asked his guys to pray for him the night before the crucifixion. So they're out in this garden, and Jesus knows what's about to happen to him. He's about to die a horrible death on a cross, an undeserved torture. So he prays so intensely that he sweat drops of blood. And his disciples, well, they fell asleep multiple times. So here's Jesus, wrongfully accused. One of his big three has denied that he even knows Jesus. One of his top 12, Judas, one of the apostles, the treasurer, is selling Jesus out. And now the night before the crucifixion, your boys fall asleep 3 times on you when you ask them to pray for you. He's about to be crucified. He's about to be separated from his heavenly Father. He's about to have all the sin of all mankind dropped on him. That's some intense circumstances. But Jesus finally got to the place of saying, not my will, but yours be done, Father. He chooses the spirit over the flesh. He pushed through the feelings and into obedience. The last major stressor of Jesus is physical misery. Even on the cross, experiencing pain like none of us have ever experienced and not deserving it, he responds in the Spirit and asks his Heavenly Father to forgive them. Under all that mental, emotional, and physical misery, Jesus took the Spirit option. He ended up dying, being buried in a tomb, and raising from the dead 3 days later. He conquered death and the enemy and proved he was the Messiah, the Christ child, the Son of God. Let me ask you this, though. Are you stressed out? Relational issues, intense circumstances, some physical pain or sickness? Jesus understands. He knows what you're going through. He's felt it. He set the example of how to react to it, to push through the feelings and into obedience. Don't let the feelings control you because of stress. How have you dealt with stress in the past? Drugs, booze, porn, eating? Hey, stress eating is huge, folks, but that's taking the flesh option. Don't do it. It's not the best answer. It's not God's best for you. With God's help, you can push through the stress and not let your feelings get the best of you, because feelings are deceptive. Don't be deceived. Trust in God and respond like Christ. Push through the deceptive feelings and into obedience. It's always better that way. And if you've got a specific stressor that you'd like us to pray for, post it in the comments below, and we will pray for you, I promise. And as always, like, share, comment, and subscribe to our videos. All of that helps us get the message out there. So right now, go ahead, hit that thumbs up button, and share this thing, because no doubt, someone you know probably needs to hear this. Until next time, pick the Spirit option.